Hey there, my name is Alex, and if you're new to ticker symbol U, welcome. This channel focuses on connecting the dots between ARK Invest's technology and market research, stock picks, and daily trading data. The goal is to highlight and track the best investment opportunities among the companies that are transforming our daily lives. That means I tend to focus on newer companies that are using advanced technology to solve modern problems that legacy companies aren't doing a great job of solving for one reason or another. Because ARK Invest's funds are all conviction weighted and actively managed by the same person, Cathie Wood, looking at their combined investing data should reveal the companies and trends that ARK Invest feels will provide the best returns 5 years from now, given today's valuations. Likewise, looking at the data within each fund should show us which trends and technology platforms are currently winning in a given area, like genomics, fintech, robotics, or energy storage. So, for the last year or so, I've been doing quarterly reviews of ARK Invest's trading data to uncover these companies and trends. I've been calling these quarterly reviews the state of the ARK, but since there's just too much to cover in a single episode, ARK Week is probably a more appropriate name. So, welcome to ARK Week. This is part 1, which reviews the changes in ARK Invest's positions when we combine their 6 actively managed funds. Because I treat your time like an investment, this episode also contains a quarterly review of ticker symbol U, so you can see what I've been up to and how your investment is paying off big time. The next episodes, which will be released shortly, focus on the trading data within each of ARK Invest's individual funds and the relevant news stories affecting their performance for the last quarter. You can watch these episodes in any order, and timestamps are always enabled for your convenience. So, let's get right into the data, starting with ARK Invest's Assets Under Management, or AUM, for the last quarter. The reason I always start with Assets Under Management is because that's the baseline for looking at the changes in ARK Invest's positions. On July 1st, 2021, ARK Invest's funds totaled just over $49 billion combined. On September 27th, Cathie Wood's combined funds had just under $41 billion in them, marking a 17% decrease in total AUM. Here's how that breaks down fund by fund. The AUM of ARKK, which is ARK Invest's flagship innovation fund, shrank by 17% over the quarter, from $25.4 billion to $21.1 billion. The two things you should know about ARKK is that it's bigger than all of the other ARK Invest funds combined, and that it contains no unique stocks, meaning any position inside ARKK is also inside at least one other ARK Invest fund. The other ARK Invest funds contain anywhere from 14 to 22% fewer assets under management in them than at the start of the quarter, resulting in that total decrease of 17% I'm talking about. Here's how I use that number. This is a table of all of ARK Invest's positions when you combine Cathie Wood's 6 actively managed funds. Each row is one stock. The rows are ordered by ARK Invest's total investment in that stock, and the rows are colored by the change in that total investment over the quarter relative to the change in ARK Invest's assets under management. So, positions that are in white shrank by around 17%, right in line with ARK Invest's funds overall. Green rows show positions that shrank by less than 17%, meaning they grew relative to the funds, and red rows shrank by more than 17%, meaning they shrank by more than ARK Invest's funds on average. Using that framework for analyzing ARK Invest's data, all we have to do is look for the darkest green rows. Pretty cool, right? Speaking of pretty cool, let me quickly point out 2 things that should save you a lot of time even before we walk through this data. This third column shows you the change in share price for the stock between the start and the end of the quarter. For example, many of ARK Invest's top holdings like Teladoc, Roku, UiPath, and Zoom are trading at big discounts compared to 90 days ago. Second, this entire State of the ARK presentation is available for download for free at tickersymbolu.com, so you don't have to worry about pausing to take screenshots unless you really want to. I'm building out tickersymbolu.com so you have easy access to all my resources and spreadsheets and presentations without having to hunt through dozens of YouTube video descriptions to find them. Here's the full link if you want to check it out, and I'll also put it in the description below. Great. Now let's walk through the changes in ARK Invest's combined funds over the quarter. The thing that I think all of Cathie Wood's biggest positions have in common is that most investors are misunderstanding at least part of the bigger picture. That's certainly true for Unity Software, ticker symbol U, UiPath, ticker symbol PATH, and Palantir, ticker symbol PLTR, all of which are massive billion-dollar positions that have increased by over 33% in the last 3 months. Unity software allows developers to create 2D and 3D interactive experiences for every type of platform, including PCs and Macs, gaming consoles, and mobile devices. Their primary audience right now is game developers, but they're extending their development ecosystem to support much more than just video games. The thing Unity's platform focuses on is lowering the barrier of entry to develop these visual experiences. That means everyone from artists and storytellers to doctors and engineers can start bringing their visions and visualizations to life much faster instead of having to learn a skill that's very different from their existing skill set. As a result, Unity software is a top 10 position inside ARKK, ARKW, ARKQ, and ARKX, and it's worth noting that while the stock rallied by almost 30% over the quarter, Cathie Wood has pretty much retained all of her shares, indicating that she feels Unity's stock will still at least double from current prices over the next 5 years. UiPath, ticker symbol PATH, is a software company that focuses on RPA, or Robotics Process Automation. UiPath defines RPA as a software technology that makes it easy to build, deploy, and manage software robots that emulate human actions, interacting with digital systems and software. So they make software robots to replace work done by humans through automation. Their bots are often used to manage simple but monotonous workflows like copying and pasting data between programs, sending automated responses based on the content in incoming messages, or organizing large amounts of data based on a few simple rules. So, an example workflow for UiPath's bots could be parsing emails to retrieve data that need to be entered in a bunch of other forms or applications based on specified criteria. If that sounds like your job, you're not alone. The total addressable market for robotics process automation is massive, which is why UiPath is one of only 2 companies that Cathie Wood has in all 6 ARK Invest funds. UiPath is currently trading over 20% lower than at the start of the quarter, and Cathie Wood has almost doubled her position in it as a result, which means ARK Invest now owns close to 3% of the entire company. And if that's not conviction, I don't know what is. Palantir, ticker symbol PLTR, builds advanced data analytics software platforms that are used by the government and other large institutions. These same institutions tend to have the hardest time with big data at scale because they were built well before the world went digital. Palantir software analyzes huge sets of data from many sources to help organizations make better decisions, often in near real time. So where I think Palantir really adds value is by helping these large companies quickly make what's called the digital twin of their organization, and then solving several key big data challenges to get their client solutions up and running fairly quickly. Palantir is also extending their reach to smaller companies and even startups through their new Foundry for Builders program. Because their technologies are so industry agnostic, Palantir is the other stock that's in all 6 of ARK Invest's funds. Palantir's stock price has been steadily climbing basically all quarter, so Cathie Wood has been buying and selling shares around that price action. Even with some of her big recent sales, Cathie Wood is holding almost 25% more shares and 35% more money in Palantir today than at the start of the quarter, making it now ARK Invest's 12th biggest position overall when you combine their 6 actively managed funds. I spend a lot of time talking about Palantir because I used to be a rocket scientist and radar engineer on government projects at MIT, where I focused on big data, artificial intelligence, and automated decision support. I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I'm bringing it up because it's the exact kind of work that Palantir helps some of their biggest clients do at scale through their Gotham platform, which was their first and still is currently their biggest platform. So I feel I can add a little value to the conversation around Palantir. Draftkings, ticker symbol DKNG, also made it into ARK Invest's top 20 positions this past quarter, after Cathie Wood increased her share count by almost 24%. Draftkings is a suite of integrated apps for paid fantasy sports, online sports betting or OSB, and iGaming, which are casino games like blackjack and slots. One of the reasons there are 3 separate apps is because those activities can be regulated differently in each state, so there are some nuances that come with what Draftkings can offer, promote, and cross-sell within each app. The Draftkings integrated platform allows them to use data from each one of these apps to target ads and personalize experiences on any one of them. They can also do cool things like generating custom bets in real time based on what's going on in live sports events. Draftkings is in the process of acquiring Golden Nugget Online Gaming, ticker symbol GNOG, for $1.5 billion, and they're also building an NFT-based collectibles marketplace for things like digital sports cards. Because of the wide variety of innovations coming out of Draftkings in the realm of digital sports and casino gaming, DKNG stock finds itself in ARKK as well as ARKW and ARKF. ARK Invest's funds focused on the next generation of internet applications and fintech innovations, respectively. If you're interested in my full-length deep dives on Unity software, UiPath, Palantir, or Draftkings, I've created one convenient playlist for you with all of them and many more. I'll leave a link to that in the top right-hand corner of your screen right now, and in the description below as well. If we sort this table by the percent change in position size instead of ARK Invest's total position size, we get the list of positions that Cathie Wood increased the most over the quarter. Since your time is valuable and many of these positions are very small, I won't go through these one by one. Instead, I'll highlight a few things that I hope you find helpful. First, here are Unity, UiPath, Palantir, and Draftkings again, so you can see where they land among all of these other increased positions. The reason I highlighted them in this episode, instead of waiting to talk about them when I cover each individual fund, is that they're by far the highest ranking positions on this list, which makes these increases the biggest positive changes in ARK Invest's conviction overall. If that's not really clicking for you, trust me, I totally get it. If you look back at my earlier content, it took me a while to really figure out a logically consistent way to look at all of this data. So let me say it another way. These are the positions that were already fairly close to ARK Invest's position in Tsla at the start of the quarter, that ended up moving even closer to their position in Tsla by the end of the quarter. Tsla, ticker symbol TSLA, is ARK Invest's #1 position, and that rank hasn't changed. While Unity Software, for example, was ARK Invest's 11th biggest position 90 days ago, and is their 3rd biggest position now, bringing it much closer to Tsla in terms of ARK Invest's overall conviction in the company, since these funds are all conviction weighted. That increase in overall conviction can be because Cathie Wood bought more shares, or because she decided not to sell shares after they jumped in price. So I like to look at the change in share count and the change in price together to see which stocks Cathie Wood bought a lot of and which of those are still down in price. Those are the ones that I'd research first, since there might be a good near-term buying opportunity among them. Those would be Quantum SI, ticker symbol QSI, Signify Health, SGFY, Verve Therapeutics, VERV, Stoneco, STNE, AeroVironment, AVAV, UiPath, PATH, Repair Therapeutics, RPTX, and Roblox, RBLX. If you don't mind stocks that went sideways instead of their price going straight down, you can add Disney, ticker symbol DIS, Komatsu, KMTUY, Discovery, DSY, Draftkings, DKNG, and Jaws Spitfire, SPFR to that list. Stocks like Signify Health and Roblox, as well as Etsy, ticker symbol ETSY, Arcturus Therapeutics, ARCT, Verisight, VCYT, and PagerDuty, ticker symbol PD, are even more interesting because they increase to the point where they're nearing ARK Invest's top 50 or even top 30 positions overall, out of roughly 160. Typically, what I do when I see this happen is throw these companies on my watch list and start researching them as best I can. For example, what does ARK Invest know about Etsy that I don't? Can I put aside what I think I know about Etsy and find the reason that Cathie Wood almost doubled her position in it over the quarter? This is what I mean by data-driven investing and not letting my gut feelings rule out certain stocks. Comment below with your thoughts on these companies. Are there any that specifically interest you? If so, how come? Are there any you want to learn more about or want me to do a deep dive on? Should any of these companies be in the $100,000 public portfolio I'm starting when ticker symbol U reaches 100,000 subscribers? Or should any of them at least be on the watch list? I'm excited to hear your thoughts, and I'll cover these companies in more detail in the next parts of ARK Week. Speaking of data-driven investing and ticker symbol U, how's that for a smooth segue? I treat your time as an investment, so here's how your investment is growing and what you can expect going forward. This past quarter was my first full quarter since I quit my day job to pursue my passions in research, technology, investing, and video journalism. I quit my day job back in May, just in time for growth stocks to collapse, along with my portfolio, ARK Invest portfolios, and of course, the interest in this channel. All of those things are just now starting to break even. And that's great, because as you know, the best time to double down is near the bottom. So that's what I did. I made 23 new episodes this quarter, almost double what I could make before I went full time. I switched from talking about world-changing technologies and ARK Invest's big ideas about the future to talking about the stocks that I felt were crashing the hardest and the biggest opportunities I saw to buy into that future. Even with almost none of my videos this quarter touching my top 10 videos overall, it was my best quarter ever by far in terms of views, and the channel is slowly creeping towards 5 million total views and 100,000 total subscribers, with its 1-year anniversary still in front of us. I'm really happy that I can add a little value to so many people each and every week. That added value also seems to have attracted all sorts of potential sponsors: finance apps, social media platforms, advertising companies, VPN solutions, the list goes on and on. I don't use the products or services from any of these sponsors, so I rejected them. Denying sponsors that are irrelevant to my audience is one way that I can respect your time. After almost a year, I'm just now starting to engage with a handful of sponsors that I don't even see a lot of other finance channels talking about. But I'm excited to work with them because they're all directly focused on education, investing, or both, and they're all brands that I feel have a lot of integrity, which means a lot to me. Another way that I can respect your time is by cutting one ad per video, which I've been doing since this channel became eligible for ads last winter. If each ad is a quarter minute long and every viewer is spared one ad, that's 375,000 minutes of ads I spared my audience this quarter, or over 250 days. In total, I've saved my viewers over 2 years of combined ad watching since I've started cutting ads on this channel. I'm really proud of that. ARKF those ads. Speaking of things I'm really proud of, the only reason I can keep cutting ads and denying sponsors is because of the wonderful support of my patrons on Patreon and channel members right here on YouTube. Hundreds of people go above and beyond by supporting the channel each and every month, and that means the world to me. Supporters get a ton of extra and exclusive content, including monthly Q&A videos, access to all my data dashboards like the ones I featured in this episode, early access to the state of the ARK, and I'm pretty consistently adding new benefits over time. Here are some of the other things that I'm proud of that happened this quarter. I interviewed Simon Barnett, one of ARK Invest's analysts focused on the genomics revolution. Simon and I talked for over 2 hours, and he taught me a ton about the innovations coming to every aspect of healthcare. Simon, if you're watching, I'd be happy to have you back on the channel. Likewise, if any other analyst from ARK Invest is interested in an interview, slide into my DMs on Twitter @TickerSymbolU and let's make it happen. Now let's turn to the future. Here's exactly what you can expect going forward as we enter the final quarter of 2021. As I mentioned earlier, I'm starting a $100,000 portfolio when the channel hits 100,000 subscribers, which I do expect to happen sometime in the next 3 months. Instead of comparing the ticker symbol U portfolio to the indexes, we're going to compare its performance to Cathie Wood and ARKK over a 5-year stretch, which is ARK Invest's time horizon, or however long it takes me to admit defeat. I'll also be reorganizing my 4,000 member Discord community to focus more on the stock market and investing, not just technology platforms and innovation. That Discord community is another thing I'm really proud of, so if you're interested in joining that and helping me with this crazy idea, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. I want to make it clear that the goal is to provide a fun, interactive, and educational investment experience using my own money. To me, that's a great way to level up the channel that invests in you. If you're interested in seeing the moves in that portfolio as they happen, instead of waiting for me to cover them in a video, consider joining the hundreds of people supporting the channel as patrons on Patreon or channel members right here on YouTube. That's one of those new benefits for supporters that I was just talking about. If not, that's totally cool. I plan to talk about the portfolio at least once a month and recap the biggest changes, good or bad. Either way, thank you for investing some of your precious time with me each week and letting me talk about the channel every quarter. That really means a lot to me. In the next episodes of ARK Week, it's right back to business. I'll be highlighting the biggest trends and holdings changes that I see in each of ARK Invest's individual funds. Then I'll let the data and your feedback keep deciding what content comes next. After all, this is ticker symbol U. My name is Alex, reminding you that the best investment you can make is in you.